I can see the I don't say compartment of the human,
Okay,
and an example if a boy or a girl lies, the expressions in our hands or their eyes, or the same for that the boy can talk.
okay, good. So just one word. Remember, if you want to talk about comportamiento, it's better if you say the behavior, right? The
Okay.
behavior of the people. Okay, yes, I agree with you. There are many ways in which we can identify that someone is lying, right? And that's going to be today's topic, Mariana. All right, the language of lying. Again, this is one TED It, all right, or ED video. We're going to take a look at some important things that we can do to identify when someone is lying. So let's pay attention to the introduction, please, Mariana, and we're going to have conversations about this.
Sorry, my phone died. It's nothing. I'm fine. These allegations are completely unfounded. The company was not aware of any wrongdoing. I love you. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day, and we spent much of our history coming up with ways to detect them. From medieval torture devices to polygraphs, blood pressure and breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers, eye trackers, infrared brain scanners, and even the 400-pound electroencephalogram. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, most can be fooled with enough preparation, and none are considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court. But what if the problem is not with the techniques, but the underlying assumption that lying spurs physiological changes? What if we took a more direct approach, using communication science to analyze the lies themselves?
Okay, let's just stop there. That was the kind of introduction to today's topic, right? Lying and the language of lying. What can you tell me about this introduction, Mariana? What were you able to understand?
Okay, teacher, sorry about my internet was too poor and I can listen very well the video, but I can listen that in the begin gives an examples that a person lies, like when person says I love you or something like that, and later the video shows many forms to demonstrate the liar person, like for example blood pressure, example for encephalogram, and for I don't know what more, but
Mhm.
the video can show these methods for detect.
Okay, good. Now, one question over there. I know that the audio was not like very good because of the internet connection, but were you able to listen if those methods, Mariana, if using an electroencephalogram, if using like breathing, right, recognizing, if using these like red scanners, right, all those things are all of those things like something that work, Mariana? Were you able to listen that, or they don't work? They are just machines that sometimes work and sometimes they don't work.
Teacher, I can understand very well, but can you repeat me, please?
Yeah, of course. All those methods that you mentioned, Mariana, right? The electroencephalogram, red scanners, and so on. All those methods, like always perfect? Do they always work, or they work sometimes and sometimes not?
Um, I I don't know if the video show this, but in my opinion, I think that is not a very confiable
Okay,
method.
good. You can say like a trustworthy, all right? Trustworthy, like confiable. Okay, okay. We're going to watch it one more time with subtitles, and you're going to tell me what's happening there. Okay, one more time with subtitles.
Sorry, my phone died. It's nothing. I'm fine. These allegations are completely unfounded. The company was not aware of any wrongdoing. I love you. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day, and we spent much of our history coming up with ways to detect them. From medieval torture devices to polygraphs, blood pressure and breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers, eye trackers, infrared brain scanners, and even the 400-pound electroencephalogram. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, most can be fooled with enough preparation, and none
And this one.
are considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court. But
Okay. So what extra thing were you able to understand in this time, Mariana? Is there any extra information that you can tell me?
Yes, I can understand that in a medieval time,
Mhm.
the persons used a method of torture like a polygraphos, and also say that um, these tools worked only in certain circumstance,
Mhm.
and no one of these tools can be admissible in court.
Yes, yes, and that's very important. The last thing that you're saying is very important, Mariana. These are good devices, right? But look at this sentence. Most of these devices can be fooled. What is called to be tricked, right? It means if you are a person who is very prepared, you can fool these devices. It means that you're going to tell a lie, but this device is going to recognize as if it were true, right? So you can fool devices with enough preparation. And of course, the most important part is that none of those, right, devices, none of those are going to be considered, right, as reliable in court. So it means that if you want to prove that someone is lying and you take him to court, you cannot use these devices, right? So they don't work every time and they are not taken into account. Now, what I would like you to understand in this part, I think it's going to be interesting for you. I'm going to show you the three, sorry, the four ways in which they believe you can identify lies. Okay, so let's listen from this part, and you're going to tell me what are those ways of detecting lies. Let's do it.
what if we took a more direct approach, using communication science to analyze the lies themselves? On a psychological level, we lie partly to paint a better picture of ourselves, connecting our fantasies to the person we wish we were rather than the person we are. But while our brain is busy dreaming, it's letting plenty of signals slip by. Our conscious mind only controls about 5% of our cognitive function, including communication, while the other 95% occurs beyond our awareness. And according to the literature on reality monitoring, stories based on imagined experiences are qualitatively different from those based on real experiences. This suggests that creating a false story about a personal topic takes work and results in a different pattern of language use. A technology known as linguistic text analysis has helped to identify 4 such common patterns in the subconscious language of deception.
Okay, so let's pay attention here, Mariana. Here they are going to start mentioning the four things that you should pay attention to identify when someone is lying.
First, liars reference themselves less when making deceptive statements. They write or talk more about others, often using the third person to distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. Which sounds more false? Absolutely no party took place at this house, or I didn't host a party here. Second,
Okay, before the second, what do you understand about the first thing that we can do to identify liars, Mariana? What is the first thing?
Okay, only for this first point, um, I can understand that the statement it's very important for describe about the other person, and also um, I don't know what more say, but the main idea is the statements of the third person.
Yes, yes, correct. And that's very important. Third person, right? When someone is lying, they don't say I. They don't use first person. A person who is lying tends to use third person sentences because they want to be away from the lie, right? And they give examples. Let's
They
listen,
write or talk more about others, often using the third person to distance and disassociate
right? And why do they use third person? Because they want to distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. So the lie is away and you are there, right? So you say he, she, it, or you say a person, or you say a man, a woman, but you don't say I. That's why, and that's how you identify a lie,
themselves from their lie. Which sounds more false? Absolutely no party took place at this house,
right? This is a lie. This is a sentence in third person. Absolutely no party took place at this house. Why would you say that, right? It doesn't make sense. You can say something like this,
or I didn't host a party here.
right? This is not lying, right? This person is not lying because it's saying, I didn't host a party here. So that's one thing. Let's go to the next one, at least one more.
Second, liars tend to be more negative because, on a subconscious level, they feel guilty about lying. For example, a liar might say something like, Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing. Third, liars typically
Okay, what about the second thing, Mariana? What can you say about the second thing?
Okay, I'm not sure, but I think that the main idea for this point is that the person are more negative because
Mhm.
on I don't know how to say subconscious level, the person feel very guilty about the words
Uh-huh.
and gives an example, like is a stupid battery, I think, and
Uh-huh.
also the my phone was died.
Yes, exactly, right? When someone is lying, they a person that is lying tend to be more aggressive, right? My stupid phone, right? My stupid battery died because, as you very well mentioned, at a subconscious level, they feel guilty that they are dying, so they feel angry, they are aggressive. So it's very common that when someone is lying, they are not going to tell you things quietly, right, and calmly. No, they are going to say things like aggressively, very, very actively, right? That's the second thing that you can do to identify lies. We can do at least one more. This is going to be the last one, and this is going to be this one over here. Actually, this is going to be the fourth one, but I think it's the third one that is most important.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And finally, even though liars keep descriptions simple, they tend to use longer and more convoluted sentence structure, inserting unnecessary words and irrelevant but factual sounding details in order to pad the lie. Another president confronted with a scandal proclaimed, I can say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident.
All right, and that of course was a lie. What can you tell about this last point, Mariana?
Um, I don't know if in the first part, this image, like a board,
Uh-huh.
uh, it's an image that describe a relationship or something like that, but in this part can talk about a simple description, that is a sentence that have a structure more large and complicated, and the words are more unnecessary, um, and this I think.
Okay, yeah, correct. That the main word that you were saying, Mariana, is like unnecessary, right? Irrelevant, unnecessary words. So someone who is lying is going to say things that we don't need to hear, right? They are going to go round and round and round over the same idea because they are lying. For example, this president, right? Instead of saying that they didn't do that, they say, I can categorically, right, or say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one, and he says one and other thing, instead of saying just one simple sentence, right? They give like many rounds about that idea. Do you have any final comments or questions before finishing today's conversation? Mariana, it was about this. We couldn't watch the entire video. I think there are many interesting things over there, perhaps next time. But I don't know if you have any final comments or questions to finish.
It's okay, teacher. The video was very interesting.
Good. That's great, Mariana. And that's good to know. So thank you for being in today's conversation. I took more time because the other person is not here yet, but I'll see you tomorrow to continue with the class. Okay? Have a
Okay,
good night,
teacher.
Mariana.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye bye. Hello, good evening, Daniela.
Hey, good night, teacher. Sorry for the delay.
Hello, no, it's okay. It's 3 minutes. We have a lot of time to work. So let's begin, Daniela. Today's topic is going to be about something perhaps interesting that is lying or lies. Do you know what's a lie, Daniela?
Yes, lie is when someone is telling something that is not true.
Good, perfect. That's great. That's the best way of describing that, Daniela. You're right. That's a lie, and that's the action of lying. When someone is lying to you, Daniela, how do you recognize that? How can you identify when someone is lying to you?
Um, well, mm, I think that the person's um, um, I don't know how to say ponerse, put,
It depends. What do you say? Ponerse what? What is the next part?
ponerse nerviosos.
Okay, get. Then you say get. They get nervous. They get nervous.
Okay, they get nervous and they get or they make some um gestos, gests. I don't know how to say
Gestures. Gestures.
gestures. Yes, it is.
Okay, that's great. So there is a body language, right? There is a body language that can tell you when someone is lying. Someone feels a little bit more nervous or they get nervous. They like show something with their face, right, with their body, and you can tell that someone is lying. Good. In this video, Daniela, what we're going to do is we're going to see some important details that we can pay attention to when someone is lying. But first, let's take a look at this 1 minute introduction, and you're going to tell me everything that you understand. All right? So let's
Okay.
begin.
Sorry, my phone died. It's nothing. I'm fine. These allegations are completely unfounded. The company was not aware of any wrongdoing. I love you. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day, and we spent much of our history coming up with ways to detect them. From medieval torture devices to polygraphs, blood pressure and breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers, eye trackers, infrared brain scanners, and even the 400-pound electroencephalogram. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, most can be fooled with enough preparation, and none are considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court. But what if the
Okay, until that part. I know that there can be many new words, can be a little bit hard to understand everything, but what can you tell me about this introduction to understand a lying, Daniela?
That um people say some liars like when people call to someone
Mhm.
and when someone says that he is okay but he's in the hospital
Good.
mm, and when someone say I love you but it is false. And I understand that scientifics try to create some mm, like detectors of lies or something like that. I
Good.
don't them very well.
That, that's great, Daniela. Lie detectors. Okay, good.
Yes, but don't this equipment, or I don't know how to say,
Good. Yeah, equipment. You can say this equipment.
equipments don't work very good. Don't work.
Great, great, great. Actually, you have everything there, Daniela. Very well done. You have all the information over there. I'm just going to add something extra, but what you did was perfect. This is important, right? Okay, everybody, we hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day. All right, that's a lot. This is like statistically speaking, right? Everybody, every person hears at least 10 as minimum and 200 as maximum lies a day, right? So that's a lot. You said that very well, right? Throughout history, we've been trying to identify or detect lies, right? With liar detectors, where you can say that that's very well. And you have blood pressure machines, you have breathing monitors, you have voice stress analyzers. Also, you have this one over here, eye trackers, you have infrared brain scanners, and even this electroencephalogram, right? These are machines that are used, right? This is equipment that is used to what? To identify lies. But even if they sometimes work, right? Most of the times, as you said very well, they can be fooled. Fooled is like planning, ser engañados, right? They can be fooled if you have enough preparation. So if you're a person who is very well prepared, you can control your breathing and you're not going to show that you're lying. You're going to control your eyes and you're going to control those things and you're going to fool a machine. So they don't work. And also, it's very important this part, Daniela, that all those machines are not considered reliable, confiables, right? To even be admissible in court, in la corte, right? So you cannot use those machines to prove that someone is lying. So we can do something different. And actually, we're going to go to that part, Daniela. We're going to see, and you're going to tell me what patterns we need to recognize when we need to identify that someone is lying. Prestemos atención a estos cuatro patrones, Daniela. This is going to be important. And we're going to know when someone is lying. So let's pay attention to this part, please.
Has helped to identify 4 such common patterns in the subconscious language of deception. First, liars reference themselves less when making deceptive statements. They write or talk more about others, often using the third person to distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. Which sounds more false? Absolutely no party took place at this house, or I didn't host a party here. Second, liars tend to be more negative, because on a subconscious level, they feel guilty about lying. For example, a liar might say something like, "Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing." Third, liars typically explain events in simple terms, since our brains struggle to build a complex lie. Judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute. As a US president once famously insisted, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." And finally, even though liars keep descriptions simple, they tend to use longer and more convoluted sentence structure, inserting unnecessary words and irrelevant but factual sounding details in order to pad the lie. Another president confronted with a scandal proclaimed, "I can say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident."
All right, until that part, what were you able to understand about those 4 things that we can pay attention to identify lies, Daniela? What can you tell me about that?
Okay, I understand that liars talk more. They talk with more words. I don't know how to say, alargan mucho su discurso.
Okay, yes, they make that longer. Yes, they make their speech longer.
They made their speech longer,
Good.
and um, they talk with negative sentence too, with negative
Mhm.
words.
Very
Um,
well. Do you remember the example in the phone? Do you remember one of those negative sentences or aggressive sentences?
yes, he say something like, "My stupid phone, it's so bad," or something like that.
Good. Very well.
And um, they they I don't know if it's okay, but they have more I I don't know how to say, apresurarse, más apuro.
Rush, to rush. Okay, they rush. When do they rush? ¿Cuándo se apresuran? When do they rush?
They rush. I don't remember.
Okay, it's okay. Everything you mentioned, the last part we're going to check, lo que vamos a revisar, but the two things that you say, Daniela, was great. So let's check one by one to finish today's conversation. Look, first, this is the first one that you didn't mention, but it's very important. Okay, when someone is lying, they talk more about others, often using the third person. Okay, liars, they don't usually say I, we. No, they don't say I, or they don't say we. They say he, they say she, they say a person. They use third person. Why? Because they want to distance and disassociate, okay, themselves from their lie. So they want to put the lie there, and they want to be away from it. That's why they use third person. And look, this is the example that they give. It says, right, which sounds more false? ¿Cuál suena más falso? Absolutely no party took a place at this house. This is third person, right? It's like saying absolutely no person took place. Oh, sorry, no party. It's okay, right? Absolutely no party took place at this house. It means there's no party. But this is weird, right? Who's going to speak like this? And this is true. I didn't host a party here. Do you see? So a liar is usually going to speak in third person. All right, that's one that you didn't mention. This one is the one that you mentioned. That's great. They feel guilty. That's why they are more negative. They are aggressive. Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing. Sometimes it can be true, right? But most of the times when someone is aggressive out of nowhere, no, como de la nada, if they are aggressive like that, it's because they are lying, no, es porque están mintiendo. The third one, and then this is very complicated to understand, un poco complicado de entender. They use simple terms, okay? Liars use simple terms because they cannot use complex ideas. No pueden usar ideas complejas, así que son simples. But this is the fourth one. Even being simple, all right, even though liars keep descriptions simple, ¿no? Aunque sean simples en lo que dicen, they say, as you mentioned very well, and also you mentioned this, también mencionaste esto, they convulse the sentence. They say unnecessary, irrelevant ideas, right? So the sentence is longer and longer. The sentence is simple, but is long with irrelevant information, with unnecessary information, right here, unnecessary words, right? But it's still simple. And those are the four ones. Now, to finish today's conversation, Daniela, I feel like I would like you to tell me any comments that you want, Daniela. What do you think about these four things to recognize a liar, Daniela? Do you think that this is true? Do you think that this is possible?
Yes, I think that is it's true.
Okay, good. Have you ever paid attention to those details to identify a liar, Daniela?
No, but later to see this video,
The video?
yes, I could understand better.
Okay, that's great. That's perfect, Daniela. Now, one last thing that I'm going to ask you, please, to do. It can be done today. I'm going to remind you perhaps on Thursday, Daniela, please. And this is for me, all right? What I'm doing, if you can go to this link, please, Daniela, that's a web page that I have. And this is like a web page as a teacher. What I'm doing there is that you have to go to that link, Daniela. You only have to go to that link, and they are going to ask you to introduce your email, any email that you want. Okay, it can be Gmail, it can be Hotmail, for example. All right, for example, here I'm going to join. This is the link. It's in the chat. Go to that link. It can be with your computer. It can be with your cell phone. Go to join. It can be with Google if you have Gmail. It can be with Microsoft if you have Hotmail, Outlook, and so on. Log in with an account, And please, what I want you to do, because I think this is going to be the last month that you're going to be with me. This is a web page in which I'm asking my students, okay, this is new, to tell the experience that you had with me. Okay, very
Okay.
briefly. This is a video that I explained, right? And the only thing you have to do here, you have to click on record a response and like this, right? In a selfie mode, very simple. It's not a complex video. With your cell phone only, introduce yourself, right? I'm Daniel and so on, and tell the experience that you had with me. If it was a bad experience, try to tell the bad experience. If it was a good experience, tell the good experience that you had with me as your teacher. All right?
Okay, teacher.
Perfect. That's when you can, Daniela. Of course, that's not obligatory. When you can, and that's going to help me a lot. So thank you very much for being here in this conversation. See you tomorrow, Daniela.
Okay, teacher. Good night. Thank you.
Bye bye. Good night. Hello, Gaston. Are you there? Hello. Good evening, Gaston. Are you there? I cannot hear you.
Teacher, I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
I can hear you now. All right. So how are you, Gaston? Is everything okay?
Yes, teacher.
That's great.
It's nice. Thank you.
Perfect. No, you're welcome, Gaston. So let's begin with today's practice. Today, this is a video about lying. Do you know what's lying or what's a lie, Gaston?
Yes, mentira.
Yes, correct. A lie is when someone is not telling the truth, right? When someone is not telling the truth. And what's the truth? La verdad, right? When someone doesn't tell you the truth, it's because he or she is lying. Gaston, I have a question there. How do you identify, Gaston? How do you identify or recognize when someone is lying to you, Gaston? How do you know?
Um, okay, when a person don't see you, don't see your eyes.
Good.
Um, I don't know how to say titubea, o sea, no está seguro de lo que dice. I don't know how to say
Okay.
this.
We can use the second sentence that you say. The person is like insecure. The person is not sure about what he or she is saying. Okay, the person is not sure about what he or she is saying. Okay, good. Exactly. So you have the person is not looking directly into your eyes, right? The person is not looking into your eyes. The second thing is that the person is like trembling, could be the word trembling, or is not sure about the words or about what he or she is saying. Good. Anything else, Gaston? Anything else that you can perhaps pay attention to when someone is lying?
Mm, I don't know, teacher. That's all, I think.
Good, perfect. I think those are good elements, Gaston. Now, what we're going to do now, because vamos a hacer ahora, pay attention to this introduction. This is an introduction for the language of lying. And this is what I need you to pay attention to. Eso es lo que vamos a prestar atención. Primero, trata de identificar, ¿no? Algunas mentiras que dicen ahí. And second, segundo, trata de decirme si las máquinas que van a mencionar funcionan siempre o no. Okay, so let's begin. Vamos a empezar. There you go.
Sorry, my phone died. It's nothing. I'm fine. These allegations are completely unfounded. The company was not aware of any wrongdoing. I love you. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day, and we spent much of our history coming up with ways to detect them. From medieval torture devices to polygraphs, blood pressure and breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers, eye trackers, infrared brain scanners, and even the 400-pound electroencephalogram. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, most can be fooled with enough preparation, and none are considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court.
Until that part, Gaston, tell me what you were able to understand, please. Anything that you were able to understand.
Okay, the language of lying is very interesting because they investigated a lot of different, um, I don't know, strategies,
Good. Yes. Strategies.
yes, about how to understand, how to say, to know when a
Uh-huh.
person is lying. So
Perfect.
they use polygraphers or brain scanners and a lot of other things
Good.
for this, for know when a person is lying.
Perfect. Perfect. Good. Just the last part. Remember, if you want to say like la razón, la finalidad, you can say to know. Okay. To know if someone is lying. Perfect. That's
Okay.
perfect, Gaston. That's very well explained. My question over here, Gaston, you explained that perfectly. But do these machines, okay, do these devices, the electroencephalogram, the polygraph, the blood pressure, right, recognizer, you had something else, for example, even the torture devices, right? Do these machines always work, Gaston, or only sometimes?
Only what is the question, teacher? I don't understand the
Yeah,
last.
if those devices that you mentioned, Gaston, the polygraph, I'm going to show you here. All these devices, for example, the electroencephalogram, all right, the brain scanner, the eye trackers, do all of those devices, Gaston, work all the time, or do they only work sometimes?
They work sometimes.
Exactly, right? Because this is a very important sentence that we have over here, Gaston, and we're going to understand. But although significa aunque, but although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, aunque tales herramientas, yes, such significa tal o tales aquí, pero aunque tales herramientas han funcionado bajo ciertas circunstancias, right, under certain circumstances,
Most can be
most can be fooled with enough preparation. What is to be fooled? Like engañado. Alright, la mayoría puede ser engañadas de estas herramientas with enough preparation, con la suficiente, enough, suficiente preparation, ¿no? Preparación. And also this is a negative part. Es otra parte negativa esta de acá de esas máquinas. None are considered, non significa ninguna. None are considered reliable enough. Ninguna es considerada como lo suficientemente confiable, ¿ya? O en lo que puedes basarte, to even be admissible in court, para que sea aceptada en la corte. Right? So that's the important and interesting part about that, Gaston. Do you have any questions about this first part?
No, teacher. I understand all.
Now, in this second part, this is something interesting. Very, very interesting. Here, it's like 4 ways or strategies. We know that those machines don't work. So it's better to pay attention to body language or to the linguistics. Así que es mejor prestar atención a qué? Al lenguaje corporal y a la lingüística. You're going to tell me, Gaston, 4 ways to identify lies. All right, so let's listen to this part, please.
technology known as linguistic text analysis has helped to identify 4 such common patterns in the subconscious language of deception. First, liars reference themselves less when making deceptive statements. They write or talk more about others, often using the third person to distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. Which sounds more false? Absolutely no party took place at this house, or I didn't host a party here.
All right, that was the first one. That's the first way of identifying a lie, Gaston. What did you understand about the first part?
Okay, I understand when a person lie, usually we can see the physical aspect for the other person when he lie because for example when a person lie they move a lot the hair or he shows or legs.
Okay, the legs. All right. Yes, that's also valid, Gaston. But in this case, they are only focusing on the linguistics. En este caso está muy bien, pero en el primer punto, vamos a prestar una vez más atención, va a hablar más que todo de la parte lingüística esta vez. Y mira, muestra ese ejemplo que es verdad. Sometimes when people are lying, they move a lot, ¿no? Se mueven, es verdad. The legs, the arms, ¿no? Se nota cierta incomodidad. But besides that, aparte de eso, here they are mentioning something interesting. Están mencionando algo muy importante. Look, first, dice, primero, liars reference themselves less. Quiere decir que los mentirosos se refieren a sí mismos menos, en menos ocasiones. When making deceptive statements. Deceptive hace referencia igual a mentiras. Cuando hacen oraciones, ¿ya? O alegaciones con mentiras. What else? Look, this is very important. They write or talk more about others. Ellos escriben o hablan más acerca de otros, often using the third person, a menudo usando la tercera persona. So, when someone is lying, they don't say I, they don't say we. No usan primera persona. No dicen yo, nosotros. No. They talk in third person. ¿Y por qué hablan en tercera persona? He, she, it, Peter. O dicen una persona nunca haría eso. En lugar de decir yo no hago eso. Right? And why? To distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. Para distanciarse y desasociarse de su mentira. Right? And they give an example. Dan un ejemplo. Which one sounds more false? ¿No, Gastón? Aquí te preguntan, ¿cuál suena más falso, Gastón? Y esos son los dos ejemplos que van a dar acá.
Sounds more false. Absolutely no party took place at this house.
Esa es la primera opción. Absolutely no party took place at this house. Absolutamente ninguna fiesta tomó lugar en este lugar.
Or I didn't host a party here.
I didn't host a party here, ¿no? Yo no armé o yo no hice una fiesta acá. Which one is more like suspicious, Gastón? ¿Cuál es más sospechoso para ti?
The second option.
Okay, we can analyze that. Let's go to the next one, and this is going to be the last one for today. Vamos a ir al segundo y va a ser la segunda y la última parte por hoy, ¿no? Por el tiempo. Presta atención. Let's pay attention to what liars say. Veamos qué dicen los mentirosos o una persona que está mintiendo. ¿Cómo se maneja? So,
Second, liars tend to be more negative because, on a subconscious level, they feel guilty about lying. For example, a liar might say something like, "Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing."
all right, that's second thing. What can you tell me about the second aspect, Gaston?
The person when lie usually I don't know the word se siente culpable.
That person feels guilty. All right, the person feels guilty. Good.
Okay. And so they pide perdón.
Okay, good. You can say they apologize. That's one thing. They apologize. Good. But what else? Is that all? ¿Solamente se disculparán? Look at these examples. Mira los ejemplos. ¿Qué está haciendo esa persona que está mintiendo?
Culpan otras cosas.
Good. Yeah, correct.
For example, a liar might say something like, "Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing."
Right? And they are more negative, right? And they are more aggressive. So a person who is lying, una persona que está mintiendo, they tend to be negative. They feel guilty, se sienten culpables, and they are angry about that, y se enojan por eso. That's why they react out of the nowhere, ¿no? Reaccionan de la nada, out of nowhere, like aggressively and negatively, ¿no? Negativamente y agresivamente. That's why they say, "Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing." Eso puede ser una verdad también. But if someone that is lying, pero alguien que está mintiendo va a ponerse así de la nada, right? And it's going to show that. To finish today, Gaston, what do you think about these two ways to identify liars? Do you think that this is true, what you're watching in the video? What do you think?
Yes, I think it's very interesting and true because I see movies about this. It's very interesting.
There you go. Perfect, Gaston. Now, before finishing, please, I know I'm going to take some more time from you. Please, in the chat, Gaston, in the chat, you have a link. That's a link of a web page that I created. But what I need you to do, please, Gaston, over there, and this is optional only if you want, is to go to that link and you have to record a very short video in which you tell the experience that you have with me. Okay, when you go to the link, Gaston, you have to log in. Tienes que iniciar sesión. It can be with Google or Microsoft, ¿no? Con tu cuenta Gmail
Okay.
o Hotmail Outlook. You log in, and when you log in, cuando inicie sesión, there's going to be a place, va a haber un lugar bastante pequeñito, to record a video, para que grabes un video. And in that video, please, you can do the following if you want, Gaston. Se puede hacer lo siguiente si justamente deseas. And it's to introduce yourself, yes, presentarte a ti mismo, in a very amateur video, en un video bastante casero, puede ser del celular, como lo hicieron esos los estudiantes, and tell the experience that you had with me as your teacher, ¿no? Y decir la experiencia que tuviste con mi persona como tu docente, un profesor. It can be good, it can be bad, ¿no? Puede ser buena, puede ser mala. Very short, 30 segundos, un minuto. And that's it. All right, that's only if you can, please, Gaston. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
Perfect. Thank you very much for being here today. One more time, Gaston, and I'll see you tomorrow in class.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
I can do this video tomorrow, please.
Yes, please, Gaston. It's when you can. It can be tomorrow. It can be this week.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you, teacher.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaston. Bye-bye.
Okay,
See you
teacher.
tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Hello, good evening, Marcelo. Are you there?
Hello, teacher. Yes, I'm
Hello.
there.
That's great. Sorry for making you wait. It took longer. So let's begin, okay, for wasting no more time. I think that you were able to understand a little bit about this. So for a little introduction, Marcelo, we're talking about lions, right? About liars. What do you think about a lie, Marcelo? How often do you think that a person lies?
I think that I have another meaning of liar. It is like a put. I don't know.
What? Sorry, one more time.
What is the meaning of lying, teacher? I'm sorry.
A lie is when you don't tell the truth, right? When you don't tell the truth. When you're not telling the truth, a person is considered a liar. Okay, so this lying is going to be like the action of not telling the truth. All right, so that is
Okay.
lying. And a lie is the opposite of the truth, right? A lie is the opposite of the truth. So what do you think about a lie, Marcelo? And how often do you think that people lie?
I think that people lie all the time. it is it is necessary, I think, because I don't know if you are if you don't are if you aren't on time when you uh, uh, talk to meet with a friend. You can say I'm in 5 minutes, but you're in your house and you're taking a shower, and I think that people are. It's a custom for people, but it's a bad thing too.
Correct. Correct. Yes, I agree with you. I think there is no one person, right? There isn't only one person who hasn't lied at least once. Perhaps could be, I don't know, some exceptions, and even some people have some conditions and they cannot say lies, but that's something different. But talking about generally, right? Generally speaking, people lie. So let's listen to this introduction, Marcelo, and you're going to tell me everything that you can understand. And one challenge for you, try to tell me how many lies, okay, generally a person listens to every day. Okay, they are going to mention that. That's a challenge. But the main idea is to understand everything. So let's listen to this.
Sorry, my phone died. It's nothing. I'm fine. These allegations are completely unfounded. The company was not aware of any wrongdoing. I love you. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day, and we spent much of our history coming up with ways to detect them. From medieval torture devices to polygraphs, blood pressure and breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers, eye trackers, infrared brain scanners, and even the 400-pound electroencephalogram. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, most can be fooled with enough preparation, and none are considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court.
Okay,
But what if
that's the introduction. What can you tell me about the introduction first, Marcelo? Everything that you were able to understand, and also if you're able to answer that little question as a challenge that I gave
Okay, it is the introduction. It talks about the lie, and I listened that a person would listen 10 to 2,000 lies in a day.
you. Okay,
Uh,
okay.
and it shows a balance of the truth or lie, and I understand all.
That's good. Now we're going to go part by part, very briefly. You were almost right, Marcelo, in the first part. It's okay. It's from 10, but not to 2,000. It's going to be to 200.
200. Yes,
Exactly.
sir.
All right, there you go, over here. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day, but that's a lot, right? Hearing to 10 to 200 lies a day, that's a lot, but statistically speaking, that's the number of lies that we hear a day. Now, what have we as humanity, right, done about that? We have always tried to detect them. And if you realize, Marcelo, they've been showing some liar detectors. For example, right, in the medieval time, they used torture devices. Then they used polygraphs, right? Polygraphs to see when someone is lying. Then blood pressure, breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers. What else? Eye trackers, infrared, right? Brain scanners. And also, finally, the electroencephalogram. All of those are devices that we can use. That was part of the introduction. But Marcelo, were you able to listen if these devices work 100% of the time or only sometimes, Marcelo?
I think that only sometimes.
Yes, and actually, I'm going to play this part for you, and you're going to tell me what part is saying that, okay? It's very short. Look.
encephalogram. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, most can be fooled with enough
Okay,
preparation.
what is
And
mentioned in that part that can make you say that then though they don't work all the time, Marcelo, in that last part?
Mm, it talked about phones.
Mhm. Yeah,
um,
that was very important. What else?
um,
Look, I'm going to say here. Let's read this part, please, Marcelo. It says, but,
but also such tools have worked under certain circumstances.
good. And this is the first part. Anytime that you see although, Marcelo, they are going to show the opposite. So, but although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, okay, although this is true, something else happens. And what is that something else? This one. Most can be fooled with enough preparation. All right. So this is the important part to say that they don't work all the time. Something that is fooled is something that is tricked. Okay, so you can trick, you can fool the machine, and even though you're saying a lie, the machine is going to identify this as true, right? Do you understand more or less the idea of what fooling or being fooled is?
Oh, yes, yes, teacher. I
Okay,
get it.
there you go. So that's why they say that they don't always work. And what other disadvantage of these machines is the following. Let's read this part, please. No?
Okay. And none are considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court.
Good. So if you have a legal problem, Marcelo, and you go to court, can you use those machines?
Mm. Yes.
Yes, you can use them, but are they going to be taken into account? Are they going to be admissible?
Uh, no,
What do you say? Because if you read what is the subject of this sentence, none, and none
no.
is negative, right? It means that none of those machines, none of those devices, the electroencephalogram, the polygraph, and so on, none of them are considered reliable. It means that you cannot trust in those devices. All right. So they cannot be admitted or they are not admissible in court. It means that if you have a legal problem, Marcelo, they
Mm-hmm.
can use these devices, but they are not reliable. It means that they are not going to determine if that person is going to go to jail or not, right? So that's going to be very important. And what do you think about that, Marcelo? Do you think that machines are very helpful to identify lines? Or what is a better method if you want to recognize when someone is lying, Marcelo?
Um, I think that nobody can read another brain, and it's difficult to say the truth. Something is uh, a person that that was in the jail for 3 years, I suppose. You cannot uh, see if he or she is lying or not, and I think that it is very difficult. I think that that these instruments are no uh, are no
Uh,
reliable,
reliable, reliable.
reli- reliable, and
Good.
I think that.
Great. That was a great point, Marcelo. I agree with you. The brain is very complex, right? And we cannot pretend to understand others, right? Others, people like brain or ideas. So it's very hard to identify when someone is lying. Correct. Now, before finishing again, Marcelo, I think that you've heard this with Gaston. Please, in the chat, I'm giving you a link. This is
Mm-hmm.
optional, please, Marcelo. But what you can do is go to that link when you have time, all right? And I want you to record a video. This is again optional with any account. It can be Gmail, it can be Hotmail. But the only thing you have to do is record a video of yourself, introducing yourself and telling the experience that you had with me. Okay, for me, it's very important because I'm going to know what feedback I get from you, what I can improve, or the things that you can tell me. All right, it's going to be only 30 seconds, maximum 1 minute, because this platform, the limit for the video is 1 minute. All right, so you go here, as you're looking at my screen, you go to record a response. You can do this from your computer or you can do this from your cell phone. You choose record a response, and as some of your partners here or other people, you only introduce yourself, right? I'm Marcelo, and I had a good experience with Jose Luis. I had a bad experience with Jose Luis, whatever you want. 1 minute
Okay.
maximum, and that's going to be it. All right?
All right, teacher.
Perfect. And I'm telling you this because this is going to be the last month that we're going to be working together in the program, but that's going to be something really helpful for me. So thank you for being here, Marcelo, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow for the next class.
Okay, teacher. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye bye. See you tomorrow. Hello, Lourdes. Are you there?
Hi, teacher. Yes, I'm here.
Hello. Great. How are you? Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything is fine.
That's great, Lourdes. You know, I was having the conversation that I already had with you about lying, right? With your other partners. But with you, we're going to have like something different to do. I had something prepared for you over here, and I think it's this one over here. This is about being bilingual. We haven't watched this video with you, right, Lourdes? Being bilingual.
No, no, we didn't.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, before starting, like a quick introduction to this, they talk about benefits of a bilingual brain. What do you think are some of those benefits, Lourdes? Just like that. What comes to your mind?
I think that more than half a bilingual brain, it's knowing a new language, because when you have the ability or when you know another language, you have so many opportunities in the studies, in work, and other areas. So I think that brains has the capacity
Mhm.
to learn so many things if you uh, have the enough effort to to learn.
Okay, good. I agree with you, right? That's the title that TED gave to this, right? Bilingual brain. But yes, of course, we're talking about a very powerful machine that we have that is the brain, and we can learn many, many things. But in this video, right, specifically, we're going to take a look at some of the benefits, according to these people, that we have or that people have, right, when we know how to speak a second language. So, let's pay attention to this, and as always, we're going to have conversations after a certain time. Let's begin.
Hablas español? Parlez-vous français? 你会说中文吗? If you answered sí, oui, or 会, and you're watching this in English, chances are you belong to the world's bilingual and multilingual majority. And besides having an easier time traveling or watching movies without subtitles, knowing 2 or more languages means that your brain may actually look and work differently than those of your monolingual friends. So, what does it really mean to know a language? Language ability is typically measured in 2 active parts, speaking and writing, and 2 passive parts, listening and reading. While a balanced bilingual has near equal abilities across the board in 2 languages, most bilinguals around the world know and use their languages in varying proportions. And depending on their situation and how they acquired each language, they can be classified into 3 general types.
Okay, and before going to that part, what can you tell me about this introduction about what they call the bilingual brain or bilingual people?
Teacher, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. I thought that I lost my Wi-Fi connection, but no.
Oh,
I think that it says that bilingual, it's when you talk a different language. It could be Spanish, French, or some other language. And it says that there are three different types of bilingualism,
mhm.
and it could be very useful and bring so many benefits for the people that are bilingual.
Okay, good. Do you remember what they mentioned about the brain? Do you remember the comparison of a bilingual person and a monolingual person? What did they mention about the brain, Lourdes? Do you remember?
I think that it says that I don't remember very well. Sorry.
Don't worry. We're going to go to that part because we're going to get here now, the three types that we have. But before, let's take a look at that little comment, okay? It's a very, very short comment. So let's listen to it.
More languages means that your brain may actually look and work differently than those of your monolingual friends.
Right? So the thing that she's saying here is that perhaps the brain that multilingual people have looks, right, and works differently, right, than the one of a monolingual brain. And they are comparing here the organs, right, the brains themselves. What do you think about that? In which way do you think that the brains are different in multilingual and monolingual people?
Teacher?
Hello, Lourdes. Can you hear me?
See, yes, sorry. I lost my Wi-Fi connection. Can you
All right.
repeat, please?
Don't worry. Don't worry. Yes, it happens. The last time also I was with that problem and it's really annoying. All right. So it happened to me. I understand very well. So, yes, Lourdes. Can you hear me well now?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So they say that the brains of multilingual and monolingual people may look and work differently. So this brain is going to look and work differently than this brain. Why do you think is that? Why do you think that this person is saying that, Lourdes?
I think that it's because the information that multilingual people have in their brains, because for example, when you only know and speak and write one language, uh, you only have information of that language. So if you talk and speak and understand another language, you have information uh, in another language. So I
Okay.
think that it's for that reason.
Okay, good. I think that's very accurate, right? The amount of information that we have and the way that we handle that information. Great. Let's go to the next part. And actually, in this part, please, Lourdes, you're going to tell me, try to pay attention to these parts, please. And it's the following. Where is it? So it's here, here, here. I think it's over here, a little bit before. Okay, yes. Starting here. You're going to tell me, please, what the three types are, and you're going to try to explain me very briefly what's the difference between those three, all right? The three types that we have. So let's pay attention.
And how they acquired each language, they can be classified into three general types. For example, let's take Gabriella, whose family immigrates to the US from Peru when she's 2 years old. As a compound bilingual, Gabriella develops two linguistic codes simultaneously with a single set of concepts, learning both English and Spanish as she begins to process the world around her. Her teenage brother, on the other hand, might be a coordinate bilingual, working with two sets of concepts, learning English in school while continuing to speak Spanish at home and with friends. Finally, Gabriella's parents are likely to be subordinate bilinguals, who learn a secondary language by filtering it through their primary language. Because all types of bilingual people can become...
All right, until that part, I think. What can you tell me about these three types or bilingualism? What are those
Okay.
three?
The first one is composed bilingual, that it's when you learn at the same time two or more language. In the example, it says that it's a little girl that she's 6 years old. So she started to learn Spanish and English at the same time. Then the there is the coordinate bilingual, that it's when you started to learn English, maybe at school, and you practicing in a fluent way, but for example, in a comfortable zone like a home, or maybe even with friends, you are still talking your native language. And the last one is a subordinate bilingual, that it's like in the example, it's the parents that they don't learn uh, a second language, uh, like academic way, but they have uh, to learn in, because they have the the people around, and other things that in some way impulse them to learn another language.
Okay, great, great. I think you described that perfectly. Very good. So we have those three types, and let's begin by this one, the one you mentioned. Sorry, I want to stop in the name, right? So the first one is going to be like this compound, right? And it's about this little girl who learns the two languages at the same time. Then you have the second one, who is the teen, right? And the teen is going to be considered what type? The coordinate bilingual, who knows how to speak one language already, but who is learning a second language, right? In an academic, let's say, context, he or that person has a chance of practicing that language in the context in which he lives. But as you very well mentioned, at home or at the place in which he feels more comfortable with, he's going to be using the native language. And finally, we have the parents, right, who are going to be considered as subordinate, like bilingual, who are people who need to use Spanish to filter English, right? So there's a lot of translation over there. They need to say the word piña to understand that it's going to be a pineapple, right? So it's a little bit different. To finish today's conversation, Lourdes, in which type do you think that you fit and why?
I think that I am in the second one, in the coordinate bilingual, because I started to learn English very well when I was a teenager, at the school, with music, or TV shows, TV series. So I didn't learn it when I was a child, and learned two language at the same time. But I started at school.
Very well. Okay, I agree with you, right? Because of the circumstances, because of the way you started learning that language, right, in a very good way, you can consider yourself part of the second group, right? Good. So, Lourdes, we're going to finish here. I think that you were able to understand when I was sending that to the last student, which was Marcelo. But again, please, Lourdes, I'm going to tell you in the chat, you have a link. That link is a place in which you can create, let's say, a private space. In this time, it's a private space for me and all the students I'm going to have in the future. This is something new that I'm doing. The only thing that you have to do there, Lourdes, it's going to take literally maximum 1 minute. You need to go to that link. You need to log in with any account that you have, Lourdes. You have Gmail, use Gmail. You have Hotmail or Outlook, use that. Join, you don't need to do anything else. Select the account you want to log in with. For example, I'm going to select one over here. And when you are there, the only thing you have to do, please, and again, not have to do, please, this is optional. The only thing that you can do here, please, if you want to help me a little bit, is to record yourself, all right? Just introducing yourself and telling the experience that you had with me as your teacher. If this is going to be the last month that you're going to be with me, that's why I'm going to do this. You go here, go to record a response. You can do this from your computer, you can do this from your cell phone, and you don't need to work on a very complex video. No, you grab your cell phone in a selfie mode and you record yourself, right? I'm Lourdes, you can introduce yourself a little bit, and then you can say, Jose Luis Moa was my teacher, and you can tell the rest if you had a good or a bad experience with me and why. Very briefly, 1 minute maximum, and that's going to be it, Lourdes. All right, this is only if you can. It's optional.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, there you go. So thank you very much for giving me that time and also for the conversation. That's going to be it for today, and I'll see you Thursday for the last conversation that we're going to have, Lourdes. All right?
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye bye, Lourdes. See you. Hello, good evening, Andrea. How are you?
Good evening, teacher. Fine, thanks. And you?
That that's great. Everything is fine, Andrea. So, we're going to begin the conversation with you. Thanks for joining today, and it's going to be about lying. All right, lies. Do you know what is a lie, Andrea?
In Spanish, teacher.
It could be in Spanish, but first try
Mentira.
to explain it. Great. There you go. That's a lie. And lying is the action of telling lies, right? Which is going to be, if you want to only say it in English, you can say a lie is the opposite of the truth, right? Is when you don't say the truth, right? When the statements that you are telling are false, right? That is a lie. The second question goes here, Andrea. How often do you think that people lie?
I think that usually, also, if the lies are, how can I say, smalls, maybe,
Mhm. Good. Yes, if the
or
lie is small, you can say that. If it's a, you call it like a white lie, right? A white lie or a small lie. Good.
yes,
What?
teacher, maybe every day.
Good. Good. We're going to analyze that. We're going to see in this video, right, how many lies we listen to a day. And the last question over there, Andrea, how do you identify, or how can we identify when someone is lying, Andrea, according to you?
Uh, Maybe teacher when the people is nervous, maybe
Okay, good, nervous.
nervous.
Great. What else? One more thing that you can recognize when someone is lying?
Maybe they can see uh, in front of you, maybe,
Okay, good.
or
Yes. Perhaps, oh, sorry. Sorry. Yes, I agree with you. Perhaps they cannot be like face to face, right? Looking directly into your eyes. Perhaps that's something also that someone that is lying cannot do. Good. Now, what we're going to do, please, here, Andrea, first we're going to watch the introduction and then we're going to go to a more like descriptive part. In the introduction, please tell me, try to identify the following things, Andrea. First, try to listen to how many lies a day we listen to, more or less. Second, try to tell me if all of those lying detectors, okay, those machines, work 100% of the time or only sometimes. If and only and also if they can be used in court, okay, for legal problems. So let's listen to that and try to identify those things as a challenge, please, Andrea.
Sorry, my phone died. It's nothing. I'm fine. These allegations are completely unfounded. The company was not aware of any wrongdoing. I love you. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day, and we spent much of our history coming up with ways to detect them. From medieval torture devices to polygraphs, blood pressure and breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers, eye trackers, infrared brain scanners, and even the 400-pound electroencephalogram. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, most can be fooled with enough preparation, and none are considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court.
Okay, until that part. What were you able to understand, Andrea? And if you can try to answer to the questions I've done at the beginning. If not, only try to tell me generally, please, what you were able to understand.
Okay, teacher. I heard that I think that we heard
between maybe 10 or 200 lies every day, maybe.
Good.
And there are many machines like blood pressure. Uh, I hear maybe brain scanners and also encephalogram. Polygraph. That's
Great.
there are machines that can detect the lies. Also, there are people that can avoid that machines, maybe.
Very well. Good. Good. Uh,
Mm,
Everything that you said
mhm.
so far, it's great, Andrea. Everything was 100% correct. Okay, so good. I'm going to, I have one more question, but first let me tell you. Yes, we hear from 10, right, to 200 lies a day. That's a lot, right? But statistically speaking, that's true. Second, you were right about all those devices or machines. Great. We have polygraphs, we have infrared right brain scanners, we have like also you mentioned the electroencephalogram, right? We have many ways to detect lies, right? Lie detectors. But as you said very well, some people, with enough preparation, they can fool these machines, right? The machines can be fooled, tricked. It means that you're going to tell a lie, but the machine is going to believe that you're telling the truth, right? Because you know how to breathe, you know how to control certain parts of the body that many people perhaps don't know how to do it. But with enough preparation, many people can control those things that are autonomous, right? In a certain way. But the last question that I have, again, you had a 100% correct over there. The last question over here, they mentioned this very briefly, but Andrea, can you use those machines in court? Are they admissible? Are they valid if you want to use them in court?
Mm, eh, I think that is uh, those tools maybe
Mhm.
can be admissible.
Okay, admissible. All right, let's read. And here it is. This is the captions. But actually, it's going to be like the opposite, all right? None of them, you can use them if you want, Andrea. You can use a polygraph if you are in a legal problem and say, right, come on, use that polygraph with me. You're going to say that I'm telling the truth. But actually, and internationally speaking, legally speaking, none of those devices are considered reliable. It means that they are not going to be admissible in court. Okay, so you cannot use electroencephalograms, you cannot use polygraphs, you cannot use infrared brain scanners. Why? Because they are not 100% reliable. Because people with enough preparation can fool those machines. All right. Do you have any questions about that introduction, Andrea? And tell me, what do you think about that amount of lying? Did you expect that many lies a day, or you thought that it was not that much?
Teacher, and the first part, I can understand uh, maybe one word, grow, maybe grow.
Was it the very first part? Do you remember where was it? Um,
Oh, and that part, teacher, and
which one? Which one? In this part over here?
yes, grow growing,
Wrongdoing.
doing.
The company was not aware of any wrongdoing. It means everything was legal, all right? But wrongdoing means something illegal, something that you're not supposed to do, something incorrect, but an action that is incorrect, okay? For example, buying things for a lower price, okay, because they are not legal. So when a company do something that is or says that something is wrongdoing, it means that is a behavior that is incorrect. Okay, in this part, the company is saying the company was not aware of any wrongdoing. It means that the company didn't know that the people that work in the company were buying illegal things. Something like that, okay? Wrongdoing is an incorrect behavior, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, good. Any other questions besides that?
No, 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 teacher.
Good. Now, we have 2 minutes. I want to take advantage of that time, please. Now, let's listen only to two. There are four ways to recognize lies, Andrea, because of linguistic text analysis. We're going to only listen to two. Try to pay attention to those two explanations, and you're going to tell me what you understand. All right?
Language of deception.
So let's do.
First, liars reference themselves less when making deceptive statements. They write or talk more about others, often using the third person to distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. Which sounds more false? Absolutely no party took place at this house, or I didn't host a party here. Second, liars tend to be more negative, because on a subconscious level, they feel guilty about lying. For example, a liar might say something like, "Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing."
All right. Those are the two first things that we can like pay attention to when we identify a liar. What do you understand about these first two aspects, Andre?
Maybe the first thing is that the liars pretend, maybe, how can I say, pretend
Okay,
to
pretend.
be pretend to be another person.
Mhm.
And the second one to maybe they use bad words to
Exactly.
that teacher.
Oh, yeah, you're correct. I'm going to help you with some definitions or words over there, but you're correct. The first one, not only is that they pretend that they are other people, but you can say that they speak like in third person. Okay, for example, Andrea, if someone is lying, it's very common that that person is going to say, but look, people don't do that. Look, that person is not speaking in first person. It's using like people. And he says, people don't do that. Instead of saying, I didn't do it. All right, I didn't do that. So instead of saying, I didn't do that, a liar is going to say, people usually don't do that. That's third person. So a liar often do that to distance or disassociate right themselves from their lie. In that way, they are not part of the lie. They are away from the lie. People don't do that. A man shouldn't do that. Look, women don't do that. Instead of saying, I didn't do it. And the second part, you were right. When someone is lying, someone feels guilty. And that guiltiness, right, make them feel like negative, aggressive. That's why what they do is they act aggressively, right? Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing. Of course, this can be true, but if you are lying, you're going to say that out of nowhere, right? Without any reason, you're going to be aggressive, and the other person is like, "What happens? Why are you like that?" But it's because you are lying. It's because someone is lying. You tend to be aggressive when you're lying, right? Do you have any questions or comments about this? I would like a short comment, please, Andrea. What do you think about these two ways of recognizing a lie or someone that is lying? Do you think that this is accurate or precise?
Mm, yes, teacher. I said that persons like to pretend to be another person.
Yes, that's correct. And you have all that kind of behavior, right, Andrea? All that kind of behavior when someone is lying. Now, Andrea, please, what I'm going to ask as a favor, this is optional, but I'm going to ask it today, perhaps also on Thursday, because it's going to be our last conversation. And this is the last month that I'm going to be your teacher. All right. In the chat, you have one link. You can go to that link, please, Andrea. Again, this is optional, but this is going to be for me. What I want to do, and this is something new for me, this is a web page in which I'm asking my students to record themselves in a very short video, 30 seconds to 1 minute maximum, because the web page doesn't allow, okay, it's not permitted to record more than 1 minute. So 1 minute maximum, please, in this web page, as you can see on my screen, Andrea. You are here, go down below. Again, this is optional. Go to record a response. And what you're going to do is introduce yourself. All right, I'm Andrea, like this, like that, and tell the experience that you had with me, please. Andrea, as your teacher, right? Jose Luis was my teacher, and whatever you want to say. It can be positive, it can be negative, whatever you want to comment, all right, about me as your teacher. 30 seconds, 1 minute, that's it. You stop the recording, you upload it, and here, for example, these are two people that already commented here. You're going to be like that, and it's going to be a very short video to do. Again, optional to do, but please, if you have time and you can help me out, you can do that this week. Okay?
Okay, teacher. I
Perfect.
will maybe tomorrow, please.
But no, it's when you can, and it's also if you can. Okay? When you can and if you can, Andrea. Thank you very much if you're going to do it. If not, please don't feel that pressure. So thank you for being in today's conversation. I'll see you tomorrow for the next class.
Okay, teacher. Thank you so much. See you
You're
tomorrow.
welcome. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye, teacher.
Hello, good evening, Fernando. Are you there?
Good evening, teacher.
Hello. How's everything going, Fernando? How do you feel today?
Everything is okay, teacher. Thank you. What about you?
That's good. Everything is going well, Fernando. Thank you very much for asking. So, today's topic is going to be something really interesting. It can be perhaps something that one can use right in everyday, let's say, activities that we have. And it's about lying. All right, the language of lying. Do you know what lying is, Andre? Oh, sorry, Fernando.
Lying is when you don't say the truth.
Yes, exactly right. When you don't tell the truth, it's because you are lying. Good. How can you identify or recognize when someone is lying, Fernando?
I can recognize it in the way of speaking.
Good. Good. Can you give me an example, please, Fernando? I think you're right.
When a person is nervous, when the person thinks a lot of answer some question,
Mhm.
or maybe when uh, it uh, it, could affect in their eyes.
Okay, okay, that's great. So you are making like an analysis of the speech and the behavior, right? The way they speak. If they feel nervous, you identify that in the way of speaking. The time that they take when they want to answer, right? Well, because they think too much. And the way perhaps like the body language works, right? The eyes, when they look or they not look at you, and so on. Great. Now, today we're going to go like deeper into that, Fernando. First, in this first and short introduction, 1 minute, I want you to tell me the following, please, Fernando. So pay attention to these three things. First, try to identify how many lies, okay, like more or less, how many lies we listen, all right, daily. First thing. Second thing, try to remember some of the devices or machines that they or that we use as lie detectors. And third, try to tell me if those machines or devices work 100% of the time or only sometimes. Okay? So let's listen to the introduction. And the introduction, you're going to have the answer for all of those questions, Fernando. Let's go to it.
Sorry, my phone died. It's nothing. I'm fine. These allegations are completely unfounded. The company was not aware of any wrongdoing. I love you. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day, and we spent much of our history coming up with ways to detect them. From medieval torture devices to polygraphs, blood pressure and breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers, eye trackers, infrared brain scanners, and even the 400-pound electroencephalogram. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, most can be fooled with enough preparation, and none are considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court.
All right. So it's until that part, please, Fernando. Try to tell me everything that you were able to understand. That's one option. Or the second option, try to answer the questions that I made at the beginning in the order that you want, please,
Teacher, what I understood is that there are some sophisticated machines to determine if somebody is lying, and
Perfect.
it also affects in the brain of the person.
All right, good. Yes, because we have some detectors that work with the brain, right? Because when you're lying, certain parts of your brain may or may not work differently, right? Correct. Anything else that you were able to get in this first part, Fernando?
Teacher, which were the questions
All
you
right. The first
said?
question, if you remember, is how many lies in a day do we listen to, Fernando? Were you able to listen to that?
I listened a number. I don't remember, teacher. I didn't pay attention in the number exactly.
Don't worry, we're going to go back to that. The second question is if you remember the name or some of the names of those devices that we use to detect lies, right? For example, you mentioned the brain. Do you remember some of the machines or the devices to detect liars?
It's a machine that ends in Prague telegraph.
Okay, good, good. You have one of those. Good. The last one, we're going to go to detail or in detail over there, Fernando. Do these machines or do these devices always work 100% of the time or only sometimes?
I didn't listen this information, teacher, but I think, in my personal opinion, that these machines uh, can't be certain,
Good. Okay, good.
100 certain of certain in their answers.
All right, good. And actually, you're right with that. We're going to go one more time, part by part, Fernando, to get the answers because you're right. First, we're going to take a look at the number that we need, all right? And it's over here. Sorry. This one, right? So this is the number for now. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day. All right, that's a lot. But statistically speaking, that's the number of lies that we hear a day. 10 as minimum, 200 lies as maximum. Of course, the messages that we receive in the cell phone, the things that we hear, right? Sometimes, and lying sometimes is not bad, right? Because they say they are white lies. For example, if someone asks you, right, how are you? You say, I'm good, just to continue working, continue doing your things, but you don't feel good, right? And that's not like something bad, but it includes those lies, right? So 10 to 200 lies a day. Then we have been using many ways to detect lies, right? Or to try to see if someone is lying. For example, medieval torture. Of course, that's very primitive, right? But also devices like polygraphs, right? What is a polygraph? This is the picture. No, sorry. It should be over here. This is a polygraph, right? It's going to detect perhaps if you are lying or not. Then you have other devices like the blood pressure, because it depends how your blood pressure is going to be like moving inside, if you're lying or not. Breathing monitors is another device. Voice stress analyzers, sorry, that's another device. Then you have eye trackers, another device. Infrared brain scanners, right? A different device. That's the one that you wanted to mention. And lastly, all right, or finally, we have the electroencephalogram. All right, that's the one that is going to scan or see how your brain is working and if you are telling or not the truth. But also we have to remember that this is very important, Fernando, this sentence. Can you read this part, please, Fernando?
The teacher. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances.
Okay, that's the first part. And the second part, okay, but although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, what is the second part? This one, please, Fernando.
Most can be fooled with enough preparation.
Exactly. So even if these devices are good, all right, they can work sometimes, they can be fooled. What is to fool something is to trick something. So if you're prepared and if you
Like
know how to read, right, and if you know how to process the information that you have in your brain, and you know very well how to structure a lie, then these devices are not going to detect anything weird and they are going to believe that you are telling the truth, right? But you are not. Now, here in this part, Fernando, what do you think about this information? Do you agree with this or not? I believe that you do because of the things you said. But what do you think about this specific information and all of these devices, Fernando?
I think that here we have devices of uh, every every of from different ages.
Okay,
And some of them uh, with with technology, and the others and maybe in a manual way. Uh,
good.
maybe uh, in the past, when the police or the persons who need to hear the truth in another person used these other methods, with that had a relation a relation a relation with the torturar
Good,
torture
exactly. Torture, right? Exactly.
torture
Good.
with
Torture.
the torture. And I think it could be uh, more certain, because the person is feeling is feeling, or we're feeling uh, this age
Yes.
dolor,
Yeah.
teacher, like
The
stomach
main
age. It's okay.
no, no, in that case, sorry, I thought you were referring to something else. No, ache, right? But
Age,
ache is
yes.
not in that use in that case, Fernando. Ache is going to be yes when you feel pain, but use that word, pain. Don't use ache. Use pain. All right?
Pain.
As pain.
Okay.
Pain.
When these persons uh, were were being or have been torturing
Okay, good.
Maybe
Good.
they finally they said the truth, because there are different ways, no, and months or years ago than now, and the technology is more polite, could be.
Yes, yes, that's right. That's right. Before, the only way was with torture, right? As you're saying, you torture one person, and because of the pain that that person feels, of course, one of the options that that person had was telling the truth, right? But that's very aggressive, of course, violent. And you know that because of times have been changing, we also change the method that we want to get the truth. And the usage of these devices is one of those options, right? So, Fernando, we're going to finish here. And as I did please with the last student, I think that you were able to understand what I said to Andrea. But please, Fernando, in the chat again, I copied that link one more time. It's the link that I would like you to go, please, Fernando. This is optional. But this month, I'm going to be, well, it's going to be the last month that I'm going to be your teacher. All right. So we finish on Monday. And from Wednesday, you're going to be with a different teacher. That's why I'm working with this. It's also going to be very important for me because you know that feedback, right? Feedback is really important for you. So the only thing that you can do here, Fernando, if you have time, if you can do it, is to go to that link, log in with any account that you have, Fernando, Gmail, Hotmail, whatever you want. You're going to be and go to this web page. This is an introduction that I made. This is a video that I recorded. And in the video, I'm only asking you to do the following. You go here, record a response, and with your cell phone or any camera and microphone that you have, okay, you have to record a video, very short video, 30 seconds and a maximum of 1 minute, introducing yourself and telling the experience that you've had with me as your teacher. And that's it. All right, that's going to be really helpful for me, again, in terms of feedback and in terms of knowing how everything is going with you, Fernando. All right, again, that's optional. If you can do it, I'm
Okay,
going to
okay,
be
teacher.
really grateful. And that's going to be everything for today, Fernando. I'll be seeing you tomorrow for the conversation. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, teacher. It has to be a video.
Yes, yes, it has to be a video because it's going to be like more personal. Here I have two examples if you want. These are two of my two real students here at Executive English. And the only thing that they are doing is they grab their cell phone in the selfie mode if you want. And in a short video, right, showing there your face because to know that you are the one speaking over there, you tell, right? Introduce yourself. I'm Fernando. I've been with Jose Luis. You can only mention, right, that,
Mhm.
and said if your experience has been good or bad with me, and try to explain that very shortly, and that's it. Okay.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
All right. Again, that's optional, but I'll be really grateful if you do it, Fernando. Then thank you again for being here today. I'll see you tomorrow for the next class, Fernando.
Okay, teacher. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Hello. Good evening, Abel. Are you there?
Good evening, teacher.
Hello. How's everything going, Abel?
Uh, I'm fine, but the weather in La Paz is too cold.
All right, so you're in La Paz right now. Do you live in La Paz, Abel, or where do you usually live?
I live in La Paz.
Okay, so do you remember what's the temperature over there in degrees?
Um, 2 degrees.
2 degrees Celsius, right? All
Yes.
right. Okay, so that's very, very cold, I imagine. What do you usually do when it's winter over there, Abel? Because we're winter, right? We're getting to that part. Is it really cold in winter? What do you do when it's too cold?
Um, well, I turn on the stufa,
Okay, stove, the stove.
the stove. Yes.
All right, it helps get warmer, right? It helps get warm. Good,
Yes, teacher.
very good. All right, so I hope that this winter is not that cold. Let's hope that. So,
Okay.
Let's go to this part, Abel. Today we're going to talk about something interesting for anybody, I think, because we know that lies are everywhere. Do you know what's the meaning of lie or lying, Abel?
Mm, when someone um, doesn't say the truth.
Okay, very good, good. Just be careful there. Instead of say, is the English word, the collocation for that is going to be tell. When someone doesn't
Oh,
tell,
okay.
perfect, exactly. That's the exact definition of lying. How do you identify or recognize, Abel, when someone is lying? According to you, how can you recognize or identify that?
Well, mm, when the um, the description of one person uh, when is speaking, uh, their their explain or the um, it's explain isn't accurate.
Okay, good. The explanation isn't accurate. All right, very good. The explanation isn't accurate because it's not really telling the truth, right? It's like making up the information. That's why the explanation cannot be accurate. Okay, good. One thing. What other things do you identify when someone is
Mm, when when the um, mm, the for example when I have a friend when she lie she mm, she doesn't see directly to me.
lying? All right, all right.
She saw other side. Yeah.
Okay, good, good. So I'm going to paraphrase that to use other words, but yes, you're right, Abel. When one person is lying, that person, right, doesn't usually look, all right, at your eyes, right, or at you, right? That person doesn't look at you directly.
Yes.
Instead of that, that person looks at a different part, right, of the room or looks, right, to a different, let's say, or location or part. It's enough with that. Correct. Now, here in this video, first, very shortly, we're going to watch a 1 minute introduction about, and secondly, we're going to see 4 things that we can do to identify when someone is lying. So let's begin with the introduction. Anything that you can understand, please, Abel, by the end of this 1 minute. Let's listen.
Sorry, my phone died. It's nothing. I'm fine. These allegations are completely unfounded. The company was not aware of any wrongdoing. I love you. We hear anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day, and we spent much of our history coming up with ways to detect them. From medieval torture devices to polygraphs, blood pressure and breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers, eye trackers, infrared brain scanners, and even the 400-pound electroencephalogram. But although such tools have worked under certain circumstances, most can be fooled with enough preparation, and none are considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court.
All right. So that's the introduction, please. Anything that you were able to understand, Abel, it's going to be valid for this first part.
Um. Um. Well. Uh, the video uh, is trying to describe that there are many appliances to detect a lie. A
Oh,
lie.
Good. A lie. Good.
Yes,
Very
and I understood that, teacher.
Okay, good. I'm going to go to some details. It's good what you are able to understand. But look, for example, this information is very important over here. All right, this one. We hear, okay, anywhere from 10 to 200 lies a day. All right, so statistically
Uh,
speaking, 10 is the minimum and 200 is the maximum lies a day. And you know that there are kinds of lies, right? Some are big lies, but most of them are very small or white lies, right? For example, how are you? I'm good, but you are not good sometimes, right? And that's a lie, but it's not a big lie. It's not a lie that is going to affect negatively to someone. So 10 to 200 lies. Then we have many devices, right? You can see appliances, but sometimes, Abel, appliances, it's only going to be like the things that you have at home. All
okay.
right. But these, you can call them devices, all right? Devices or equipment. But yes, you're right. There are devices like blood pressure device, breathing monitors, voice stress analyzers. Then you have even eye trackers, infrared brain scanners, and the electroencephalogram. Those devices want to help someone know when a person is lying. But what happens is the following. I would like you to read this part, please, Abel. Read this over here, please.
Um, but although such tools have worked under certain circumstances,
Uh-huh. And the second part is the following. This one, please.
most can be fooled with enough preparation.
Good. So, although it's like aunque, right? But although
Yes.
such tools have worked under certain circumstances, what happens? They don't work 100% of the time correctly. They can be fooled. It means that if you're a person that is prepared, you can fool these machines, right? You can trick these machines. It means that you're going to lie, but you're going to control your breathing. You're going to control your eyes. You're going to control the way you feel, and the machine is not going to detect that you are lying, right? And that's
Mhm.
why also, this is also very important, none of those devices, okay, it's considered reliable enough to even be admissible in court. It means that even though you can sometimes use those devices in court, you watch that perhaps on TV, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
they use them, but they are not the 100% reason of why someone is going to go to jail, right? They don't rely on those machines because they are not reliable. I don't know if you have any questions about this first part, Abel, of the words that you've been reading.
No, teacher. All is okay.
Good. And the last thing I want to do, let's pay attention, please, to the four things that linguistic text analysis do or recognize to identify when someone is lying. All right, very short. You don't need to memorize the four of them. At least try to pay attention to two of them, Abel. So let's.
Or such common patterns in the subconscious language of deception. First, liars reference themselves less when making deceptive statements. They write or talk more about others, often using the third person to distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. Which sounds more false? Absolutely no party took place at this house, or I didn't host a party here. Second, liars tend to be more negative because, on a subconscious level, they feel guilty about lying. For example, a liar might say something like, "Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing." Third, liars typically explain events in simple terms, since our brains struggle to build a complex lie. Judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute. As a US president once famously insisted, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." And finally, even though liars keep descriptions simple, they tend to use longer and more convoluted sentence structure, inserting unnecessary words and irrelevant but factual sounding details in order to pad the lie. Another president confronted with a scandal proclaimed, "I can say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident."
All right. Until that part, Abel, what can you tell me about those four ways, perhaps, to recognize when someone is lying?
Well, I understood the second and the third one. The second is related to when when I tell uh, um, uh, uh, um, I tell that the cell phone isn't working or the battery died. But for this reason, I I don't respond to the other person.
Okay.
The third one is I when we have a meeting with someone and we are late. We tell that the weather is bad is badly or for example is raining or cloudy or so on for
Okay.
yes.
Okay, good. And yes, we can use those excuses over there, right? Like little lies. But I'm going to help you to finish this conversation to understand the four of them. Look, in more detail, what you mentioned is mentioned over there, but the main thing over here is the following, Abel. And this one. If you want to say that someone is lying, you have to pay attention to the way they speak, right? First, liars reference themselves less. It means that a liar is not going to say I, yo, is not going to say we, nosotros. A liar is going to say a person, una persona, a man, un hombre. It's going to use what? Third person. Why do liars use third person? Because they want to distance and disassociate themselves from the lie, right? So if someone
Mm,
is lying, is not going to say, yo no hice eso, right? I didn't do that. A liar is going to say, una persona no hace eso, right? A person doesn't do that. That's a liar. A liar doesn't speak in first person. A liar speaks in third person because it's distancing himself of that lie. Second, all right, and this is the example, right, Abel? Look, this first example is third person.
More false. Absolutely no party took place at this house.
Absolutely no party took place at this house. I don't know who's going to speak like that. No sé quién va a hablar de esa manera. Absolutamente ninguna fiesta tomó lugar en esta casa. Absolutely no party took place at this party. Or this one that is more personal. I didn't host a party here. So this is not a lie. I didn't host a party here. But this one is a lie, right? Because it's third person. I think we're not going to have time for the three of them, but only the second one. The second one was related to this. Liars tend to be more negative. The example that you gave was right, Abel, about the cell phone. But the emphasis here is that as liars know that they are lying, they feel guilty at a subconscious level. And because they feel guilty, they are aggressive, they are negative. So someone who is lying is not going to say, sorry, my battery is not working or I don't have battery. No. Someone who is lying is going to say, sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing. Right? Why? Because he or she feels guilty and he or she is being aggressive because of that feeling guilty. All right, and I think that's really interesting. I don't know what do you think about this, Abel. To finish, I've used more time, but do you agree with this way of recognizing when someone is lying? What do you think about these two, for example, methods,
the I think That's methods that are interesting and more people use those.
Yes, correct. I was, for example, Lourdes told me, right? For example, if you're working in an enterprise and you're working with the selection of the personnel, right? You should do this with your employees to see, right, if they are lying or not about the information they are telling. And that's true. So we're going to finish here, Abel. I'm going to use just 1 more minute of your time. I think you were able to listen to what I was telling to Fernando. But Abel, please, in the chat, there is a link. You know that this is going to be the last month I'm going to work with you. Next month, I'm going to be with a different course. So you're going to be with a different teacher. So what I'm doing is giving you that link. And please, this is optional, but it's going to be very important for me, Abel, because I have feedback from you. What I want you to do, if you have time, if you can do it, is go to that link, log in with any account that you have available. It can be Gmail, it can be Hotmail, any account that you have. You log in that web page, and when you log in, the only thing, please, that you have to do there, if you can help me out, is record yourself in a video, Abel, a very short video. This is only for me, by the way, okay? This is just for me, for my feedback. Here, record a response. You click there, and with the computer, if you want, if you have a camera and a microphone, or your cell phone, it's better, I think. You're going to, for example, like this, record yourself in a selfie mode, could be, and introduce yourself and tell the experience that you've had with me, Abel, as being my student, right? And me as being your teacher, right? I'm Abel, Luis or Jose Luis has been my teacher, and this, right, can be a good experience or a bad experience in general. And that's it. 30 seconds, maximum 1 minute, because that's the limit of the program here, okay? You cannot record more than 1 minute because the web page is not going to let you, okay? Maximum 1 minute, and that's it. Again, this is only if you can, Abel, but I wanted to share this with you. And that's it. I don't know if you have any questions or anything that you want to ask to finish this conversation, Abel.
No, teacher, it's okay. I will do. I will record a video.
That's great. Thank you very much. I'm going to be really grateful if you do that, Abel. Again, it's optional, but if you do it, I'm really grateful. Thank you very much for being here today, Abel, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next class. All right?
Okay, teacher. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Bye bye. Good night.